within Veridis Quo. This podcast is my soft place, a quiet room in a noisy world. Here, we'll explore the spaces inside ourselves where healing happens, where memories linger, and where our truest voices whisper. This is my first whisper, the beginning of a journey inward. If you're listening, maybe it's because you need a moment of calm, a place to feel seen, or a space to simply be. Regardless, you find your way here. Maybe on purpose, maybe by accident. Either way, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Let's come home to ourselves together. This isn't just a podcast. It's a space where I talk to myself and maybe to you, a space for memory, healing, music, nostalgia, spirit, and the parts of me I've kept hidden for far too long. This is my way of finding myself piece by piece. So wherever you are right now, take a breath, let go of what you don't need, and come sit with me for a little while. I started this podcast because I felt like I had to. I needed something that would help me understand myself truly. Because no matter how much I talk to people, no matter how deep I try to go with others, I still feel like they don't really see me. And honestly, sometimes I don't even know how to explain how I am. It's like there's a version of me I try to present, and then there's a version of me that's locked inside, the one that no one ever meets. Not because I'm hiding it on purpose, but because I don't know how to show it. I felt lost since I was a kid, even when I had friends, even when I was surrounded. I felt alone. I didn't understand why back then, and then as I got older, that emptiness only grew louder. It wasn't about people being bad to me. It was just this silent question that kept following me. Why do I feel so separate from everything? I started to believe something was wrong with me. I spent more time online, distracting myself with games, characters, aesthetics, all these alternative lives where I could be something else for a while. But when I logged off, I came right back to myself. And that's when it would hit the hardest. That deep, heavy feeling that something inside me was still missing. I didn't know where to start, what was going on. I was completely lost. So I buried it. Over time, I started to feel like a stranger in my own skin. Like I was performing different versions of myself just to cope. Especially after I hurt someone I cared about, not intentionally, but it happened. That broke something in me, not just because of what happened, but because I didn't understand why I acted the way I did. I felt like I was being toyed with, pushed around by my emotions I couldn't control, and I realized that when people hurt me, I'd often hurt them back. Not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know how else to protect myself. It was a cycle I couldn't break, a defense mechanism that only made me feel more lost and alone. I was tired of the back and forth, tired of blaming myself more and more with each turn, wondering if I'd ever find a way out. I was already trying to figure out my way out, trying to fix myself, but the more times the situation happened, the more it made me feel like something was wrong with me. In my head, I told myself it was okay, that I was okay, but no one really saw what was going on inside. Words things fell short. People only saw the action, the mistake, didn't see the numbness that came after. Not from guilt, but from something deeper. A quiet emptiness I couldn't explain. Like I was floating outside of myself, watching everything happen, but unable to feel it. I wasn't okay. And I didn't know how to say that without sounding broken. I wish people could realize those actions, they weren't really me. They just weren't. Even though it's hard to accept what I did, and to those who can't accept it, I get it. I understand, and I regret it as much as anyone. But those actions weren't truly coming from me, especially not the way they looked on the surface. I don't blame them. I don't. When I was a kid, every time something serious happened, I would just zone out, numb in a way that wasn't about not caring. I just didn't understand what I was doing or feeling. It was like I was flooded with so many emotions at once, yet nothing at all. I had so many versions of myself running around inside, so many personalities, but somehow none of them were really me. It was like I was split into pieces, trying to hold myself together, but not knowing who I truly was. That numbness became a strange kind of stronghold, a place where I hid even from myself, and in that space, something important was missing. I couldn't name it then, but now I know it was the feeling of being truly seen, understood, and safe. And I wish someone could, but that someone, the closest, was music. The only time I really feel like myself is when I listen to music. Music is where I exist fully. It holds the feelings I don't know how to explain. I wish people could feel what I feel when I hear certain songs, because that's where I live. That's where I am. Music says what I can't, and I've started to realize maybe music is my language. Maybe that's how I communicate when words fall short. Most of the time, I feel like I'm floating in third person, like I'm not even real, like I'm just moving through life, a robot in someone else's body. And I'm tired of that. I think it's time I finally say something about it. This podcast isn't just about my mental or emotional health, it's about how I'm growing, physically and spiritually too. I felt a shift this year, a real one, and I don't think this is just a new chapter. I think this is a new book. And this is how I really feel, and I'm tired of fighting myself. I'm tired of holding back, being stuck in pettiness, or silencing myself just because of what someone else did or didn't do. I'm tired of being shaped by reactions or turning myself down to be palatable. I got tired of being the one who always took the blame, of carrying the weight for everything, even when my actions were just reactions to being hurt first. It's like someone would stab me and then get mad that I bled. I know I have my moments, and I own up to them, but everything wasn't always my fault. Still, I believed it was. Every time someone said it was all on me, I accepted it. Because deep down, I always felt like I was the problem. I know I'm not perfect, I really do. But man, when someone looks at you in the eye and says everything is your fault, that kind of pain sticks. It makes you question yourself in ways you can't always explain. And at the same time, I've been struggling so much that I often don't realize the good I have until it's gone. I've caught myself holding on to pain more tightly than I hold on to joy. Forgetting to appreciate the moments of peace and love that are already here. But I'm ready to break that cycle, to open my eyes, to be present, and to cherish the light even when the darkness feels loud. And I think a part of that is I've been scared to talk about myself, scared to say how I really feel, because when you've been hurt, you start to hide by instinct. You tell yourself, if I keep it all in, maybe no one can use it against me. I don't deserve at all to be heard. That fear makes you go quiet, and I felt that, like I've been protecting my feelings by burying them. Sometimes I don't share how I feel because I worry people will twist it, take advantage of it, or worse, they'll just not care. And at the same time, I tell myself they don't deserve to know how I feel anyway. I'm tired of fighting myself, the constant back and forth in my head. Don't say this, don't feel that, don't show too much. They won't understand. They don't deserve to see that side of you. You don't deserve to show it. It's like I've been trapped in this visible tug of war between wanting to be seen and wanting to stay safe. And somehow I've always ended up silencing the part of me that just wants to be real. That silence became a wall. And I'm tired of it. I want to grow, but to grow I had to acknowledge those feelings, and I've had to talk about them. So that's what this podcast is, a space where I can be honest, where I can express the parts of me that never had a voice before. I'm still trying to figure it all out, but I'm not hiding anymore. This is me, finally stepping into myself. I want this podcast to be a timeline, not a perfectly edited one, but a real one. Some episodes might sound hopeful, some might be heavy, some will just be me talking through the fog. I'll talk about the struggles of finding myself, trying to figure out who I really am, searching for my own personality amidst the noise, above the heavy weight of comparison, feeling stuck while it seems like everyone else is moving forward. And I'll share the shifts I felt, the moments that have started to change me, little by little. I've always felt like the odd one out in my family, like there was this invisible wall between us. I had no one really to talk to. And even if I tried, how could I explain what I was feeling without sounding crazy? How do you explain that something's wrong with you when you don't even have the words for it yet? So I kept it all in, smiling through the silence, when deep down I was screaming for someone just to see me. I'll talk about what healing really looks like. Not the versions people post, but the ones that feel like crying in silence and still showing up the next day. I'll talk about my body, how I'm trying to feel at home in it, how I'm trying to gain weight and see myself again, how I've looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back at me, and how this year I'm slowly learning to. I'll talk about spiritual stuff, the signs I've noticed, the dreams that leave me shaken, the intuition I can't ignore, even when no one else gets it. And I'll talk about music, because that's the language I trust most, the only place I've ever felt completely understood. This podcast is the one space where I don't have to explain myself perfectly. It's just me, raw, real, healing, transforming, whether you're listening because you relate or just because you're curious. thank you. I'm not sure where this journey is going, but I know I'm finally taking it. This is my sound. This is my soul. Sometimes I don't even want to explain how I feel to people anymore. Not because I can't, but because I don't want to. Sometimes I just wish I could exist in one of those movies like Twilight or Red Riding Hood, living in a cabin surrounded by trees and nothing but silence and air and sky. Just me and nature, away from all the noise. Now I understand wanting to escape and run away. Right now I'm basically ghosting social media. I'm not promoting this podcast anywhere. I won't be linking my Spotify or pushing this in people's faces. So if you did somehow find it, then maybe you were meant to. Maybe you're feeling something similar, or maybe something else led you here. Either way, this is just me talking to myself. Maybe that's what I need most. To talk, to listen, to feel like I'm being heard without knowing exactly who's on the other side. There's something peaceful in that, something honest, something that feels right. My name is Naisha Lees. I'm Puerto Rican. When I was younger, I used to hate my name. I was even scared to say I was Puerto Rican. I'm not sure why, but growing up, I love the hell out of my name now, and I'm so proud of where I come from. Besides music, the best way I can express myself is through art. When I was a kid, I would literally listen to music so loud while I was sleeping, and I'm honestly so blessed I'm not deaf by now. Art is still one of my forms of communication, especially when I can't say what I feel. I also want to share that I love writing a lot. As a kid, I used to read so much, staying up late at night during school days just to get lost in the books. I also spent a lot of time writing stories inspired by my dreams. I loved dreaming. Some of my dreams were so vivid and cool that I started writing them down, turning them into little books. Came to the point and I was so happy to sleep because I couldn't wait to see what would happen in my mind. And that led me to daydream and imagine all the time, almost 24/7. I really was a daydreamer. Always lost in my own world of stories and possibilities. It was my way of escaping, exploring, and understanding things I couldn't quite put into words. Even now, that imagination is a part of who I am. A quiet, creative place I return to when the world feels too loud. This might sound silly, but that's also a big, important part of me. I love nature. It gives me this deep, nostalgic feeling that brings me peace. That's why I love those movies I mentioned before earlier, Twilight, Red Riding Hood. It also makes me feel spiritually connected, like I'm more in tune with something beyond myself. They remind me of a version of life that feels untouched, pure, and closer to something real. Being surrounded by trees, mystery, fog, that's where I feel most myself. nature and those kind of movies make me feel spiritually connected. Maybe that's why I want to be a vet. It feels like a path that aligns with how I see the world, through care, empathy, and connecting with living things. I also really love soccer. There's something about the movement, the focus, the energy. It makes me feel alive, boost my ego. Those are my main parts of expressing myself, but there are also pieces of me, things I like, or little things that shape me, I'll talk about along the way, because they help me tell the full story of who I really am. Currently, as I write this, and talk about this, organizing everything, slowly piecing together my thoughts, scripting this introduction, it's the most peace I've felt in a long time. It's like I'm wrapping myself in a blanket I didn't know I needed. I feel safe here. I feel held. I feel like I'm somewhere deep in the woods, surrounded by tall trees that aren't judging me, just listening, healing me. I feel like I can breathe and not pretend. And in this quiet, I feel this version of me that I've always known was there, just buried beneath noise, expectations, and silence. And I wish this feeling could stay longer. I wish I could carry with me every day. Sometimes I think I wish people saw this side of me, the quiet parts, the parts that don't beg for attention, the parts that just are, not the podcast, not the work behind it, but me, who I really am underneath it all. This is the only place I can hear myself and talk back. I don't think anyone's ever truly seen me when I'm quiet. I wish they did. I wish someone would understand what I meant even when I said nothing. I guess that's what I'm doing here, talking to myself for once, trying to come home to me, to that soft girl in my chest that no one else ever really met. I think she's still there. I think this is how I'll find her again, through music, through silence, through memories I'm still not ready to let go of. I don't really want attention or validation. I just want to feel like I'm really here, like I'm not floating above my life. So maybe this is how I'll start. And if anyone happens to be listening, I guess you're just overhearing the conversation I'm finally having with myself. And to acknowledge the people who's ever known me or met me before, you might be wondering, why didn't she ever say this before? Or maybe even, why now? Or just, surprised by all this. And I just want to say, I'm sorry. I wish I could have. I really, truly did. But I didn't know how. I didn't even know what I was feeling half the time. I just kept stuffing things down, smiling, joking, pretending I was fine. I didn't know how to open up when I've always felt like my feelings were something people would twist or use or walk away from. It's not easy to admit, but I think I need to hit a low point, a tower moment, to really see myself, to stop looking away, to finally say, no more hiding. I regret a lot of things, but this podcast, this space, this is something I'm doing for me. It's how I keep going. It's how I come home to myself. But those tower moments stop now. I deserve happiness. I'm done being a lesson to others or to myself. I'm tired of the karmic cycles, the death, the pain that keeps circling back. I want peace. I want joy. I want to live without feeling like I have to suffer first. I'm tired of these tower moments trying to take over my life. At night, I force myself to sleep, crying silently. Most of the time, just numb, not feeling nothing, whispering over and over to myself, forget what happened. It's not real. I did this so much that it started to affect my memory. Like my mind was trying to protect me by letting go of pieces of myself. The name of this podcast, within Veridis Quo, comes from two Daft Punks that mean more than I can put into words. I've always been a huge Daft Punk fan, but when I first heard the song Veridis Quo, I was in one of those phases where I just kept asking what's going on with my life. There was hurt, confusion, this heavy feeling like time was pulling away from me, especially on people who weren't really adding anything to me. It was around the time I was dealing with hospital visits, and I felt like a robot, like I wasn't even here. I was just, I don't know. And then that song played, something shifted, and I felt something I can't really explain. I love music, but no song had ever made me feel the way Veridis Quo did. I felt like I was being pulled, like I was remembering something I've never lived, like I was on a journey, searching for something I couldn't name. It had this nostalgic pull. It was calling me towards something I couldn't name. I don't even know how to explain it fully, but I remember lying in bed, staring up at the ceiling, replaying it over and over and thinking, why does this feel like me? Even with all the emotions it brought up, the questions, the confusion, the sadness, but it wasn't just that, it was spiritual. It felt like the song was healing me. There was something in the way it moved through me, like it was helping me process things I didn't even know needed to be processed. Like it was just stitching something back together without saying a single word, and even without lyrics, it was speaking directly to something inside me. I remember lying on my bed, staring at the ceiling and thinking, this is me, this sound, this feeling is me. That song helped mark a turning point in my life. No lyrics, just feeling. And sometimes that's all you need. And Within, that's another Daft Punk song. And unlike Veridis Quo, it has lyrics that cut deep. It says, there are so many things that I don't understand. There's a world within me that I cannot explain. But the music gets it. And now I'm learning to listen to that world inside me And that's why this podcast is called Within Veridis Quo. That line felt like my entire inner world in one sentence, how I felt my entire life. That confusion, that pain, that space where you don't even know how to express what's going on inside. Like there's something inside me I don't even have the language for. But that song made me feel less alone in it. The piano within is haunting and beautiful. I remember hearing it while playing a game, and as I kept listening, I thought, this is really good. And I was like, wait, this is Daft Punk too? But the music gets it. And now, I'm learning to listen to that world inside me. It's all connected. The feeling, the journey, the identity crisis, the healing. And I knew that if I was going to build something personal, something spiritual, something real, it had to be named Within Veridis Quo. Because this podcast, it's my journey within to figure out who I am, where I'm going, and what this all really means. This space, this podcast isn't just about healing. It's about remembering who you are. So if you ever felt lost, numb, silenced, or invisible, this is a space for you. Even if we never speak,